Hey, what do y'all say? Welcome back to a Bad Joke Monday. Probably posted on Sunday. We're having abnormally warm weather here, and so I'm hoping I might get a few more Saturday rides to tell a bad joke for Monday. Just tell you a little bit more about this bike. I had to rewire this bike. It's part of why it took so long. And as the story goes, this is a different tank, and I had to weld up some new mounts to hold the tank where I wanted it. So I had to cut the old mounts off, and the wiring goes down this backbone right here and comes out to go up to the controls up front and stuff. So I asked my brother Derek, who I love dearly, lives close to me, to come over and give me a hand. And I told him, I said, I'm going to sit on the bike and I'm going to hold the tank just exactly the way I want it, and I'll have it all mounted up to the mounts, and they'll be cut and ready, everything. So all he has to do is just tack it with the MIG welder, and it'll be good to go. Well, my brother is particularly helpful, and so he gets in there and he just starts welding them right up. I'm holding on. I'm like, hey man, just tack it, man. But in process of burning a nice good bead, this backbone got cherry red, and it burned all the wires that went down the backbone. So I had to fish them all out, and it's got a new module that's underneath this plate right here. Goes up, goes where it needs to go. Really nice module, not too expensive. But unfortunately I had a little problem. I had these wires are kind of old, and this little blinker here, the wire broke. And so I thought, well, I'll solder that back up. I took it all apart, went to solder it up, and long story made short, it just stayed on. It wouldn't turn off. I'm like, what the heck? So I started checking my buttons and stuff, and what I ended up doing, ended up shorting out the module and blitzing. Now none of my blinkers worked. So I'm like, oh, bugger. Did some fancy resistor work. So that my running light is dim, and then see if I can hit the brake. Whoops, that fell over. And it goes bright. Same thing with the lights down on the primary. Anyway, all right, let's go for a little ride. I kind of thought what I'd do is I'm going to share, so you guys can see okay here. Each time I do a little joke, so this joke is a pretty quick one. I'm going to share a little bit about what's been going on. You guys, some of you guys know, some of you don't. I'm going to get out on the road here a little bit. I'm going to share some things. Hey, brother on a skateboard. I want to share some stuff that's been going on. That's kind of been one of the reasons I haven't posted videos in such a long time. Each time I do this, I'll just share just something quick with you. You guys all know my riding buddy, Mr. Rojo Neck, Rojo himself. Oh, dang. And this open primary, if I don't wear a boot or a sock or something that holds my pant leg in, it wants to eat it. My brother-in-law, Rojo, he is married to my wife's youngest sister. My wife is the oldest daughter of the family, and he's married to the youngest daughter of the family, and so we have a lot that we can commiserate with each other. That's a joke. That's not the joke today. That is a joke. Anyway, Rojo, as you know, we spent a lot of time together doing stuff. Well, about 2.5 years ago in May, Mr. Rojo neck became extremely sick, and he'd been sick for a long time, potentially years, without ever complaining. And for those of you that know him, you just know he never complains, ever. And so you just never know. We always joke, you never know if he's happy or if he's sad or if he's mad or if he's angry or if he's suicidal. I don't know. You just never know what his emotions are, because it's the same look on his face all the time. So there's no way that... Oh, nice Lambo. You never know what he's thinking or what's going on. But anyway, 2.5 years ago, he became extremely sick. Ends up getting some blood work done, and his doctor says, you go to the hospital now. There's more to this story that's really fascinating, but I'll tell it on a future video. We just don't have enough time. But he goes up to the hospital. They admit his butt immediately, start doing a bunch of blood work, which led to bone marrow biopsy, PET scans, CT scans, the whole 9 yards. Come to find out, he is in stage 4 multiple myeloma cancer. That's normally a cancer that hits people in their 60s and 70s, and but it got him early. Okay, don't cross, car, don't cross. And he was sick, man. I think he had, if it wasn't the highest, it was one of the highest light chain protein counts ever seen up there at Huntsman Cancer Institute, which is a fantastic cancer center here. It's one of the world's best, I believe. So he gets admitted, and his bone marrow was 95% cancer cells. How he was alive is beyond me. And they stopped counting lesions in his skeletal system. He had multiple fractures throughout his bones from the multiple myeloma that was in the marrow, and he just had hundreds of lesions throughout his body. He had kind of a mass on his chest, and he'd gone to the doctor about it. He says, oh, it's nothing to worry about, and it ended up being cancer. Kicked his ever-living butt, man. I'm telling you, he was so late by the time they found it, diving in, that it killed his kidneys. He had such high count of light chain proteins that it just clogged up his kidneys, killed them. So they immediately have to put him on dialysis, and he's in the hospital for a long time, very sick, but still never complained. He was off of work for over a year, I believe. Then by his request, they allowed him to go back light duty, and furthermore, by his request, just recently was allowed to go back full duty. But he's still on dialysis. They've gotten his cancer under control, and he survived it so far. Now, multiple myeloma is a non-curable cancer. So it's something that you just got to manage as long as you can manage it. Thankfully, he's stable to the point that they are going to focus on helping him get a kidney transplant. And he's got 4 brothers. One of them's been washed out of the program, so he's not a candidate. And we're hoping and praying that one of his other brothers might be a match, which would be amazing. But here's the crazy thing about it. there's a lot of devastating things that can happen in the world, and to individuals, to families, and I'm going to tell you about some other stuff that's gone on in our family. But Rojo will tell you directly to your face without even blinking that it is the greatest thing that has ever happened in his life. And one might think, well, how in the world would anyone feel that way when they receive that type of news? And I'm telling you, Rojo has the long game in mind. He understands the long view of things. And for those of you that are spiritually minded, have beliefs beyond this world, as I do, he is realizing that this has been an amazing opportunity for him to meet people he would have never met before, to brighten the day of people that need it. He's got story after story. He's a tremendous example of how a human being should be when you have an illness like this, and you have the bigger perspective than me, which is what this world is all about, is me, you know. And so I have just so much respect and admiration for him. He would not accept that if you tell him that kind of stuff. He just, no, that's not me or whatever, but it is. And with the time that he has available, he spends the majority of it helping other people, which is a light in this world. Other people who are suffering just like him, or not as bad as him, but he'll be the one that's over there lifting the spirits, or taking care of a yard, or just talking to someone, building up their spirits. And he's just, man, he's an unbelievable example of that, and I really look up to him for it. When he got sick, I was already busy with life and all life stuff, and honestly, I just didn't have it in me. You know, it's not me that this is all happening to, but it's kind of like my brother, you know. And when someone you really care about, someone you really love, gets sick like that, and there's a chance that they may not survive, it's just, to me, just heartbreaking. Oh, green. Watch out there, homie. Don't run me over that truck. Blow your doors off. See you later, alligator. I got 6 speeds, homie. Alright, enough of that heavy business. That's funny. I just love doing that. I got another bike I'm gonna ride, Spooky. His name's Spooky. It's got a 143 cubic inch S&S motor. It holds the dyno record at our local dyno here for a naturally aspirated bike. Man, I'm just chatty today, aren't I? Sorry about that. I hope this thing's recording. All right, let's end on a lighter note, shall we? Bad Joke Monday, probably posted on Sunday. All right, so there's these 2 women, and these 2 women live on a ranch, and I'm a redneck at heart. I grew up milking cows morning and night. We raise a steer every other year, calf every other year for our family's beef needs. We raise 2 pigs every 6 months. Had a big garden, and that's kind of, ooh boy, it's bright. I'm gonna lane split here. And that's how we survived back in the day, in the 80s, when the economy was so terrible. So I'm really a redneck at heart. Okay, back to the story, sorry. These 2 women, one lady was a redhead, the other lady was a blonde. So yes, this is could be considered a blonde joke. And these 2 ladies, they had some cows, and they had a bull. And this one bull was his purpose in life was to service the cows. And something happened, and the bull was no more. It's not told in the story exactly what happened to the bull, but something happened to the bull, and they needed another bull. So they got together to talking about it. And the redhead said to the blonde, hey, I'll go down and see if I can find another bull. We've got $500 in the budget. That's it, 500 bucks. And this is before cell phone days. So what she said to the blonde was, I'll take the 500 bucks. I'll go down and try to find a bull. And if I can find one, I'll send a telegram to you to let you know to bring the truck and the trailer to come down and get the bull. And so the blonde agrees, and the redhead takes off, and she goes down to the stalls and down the market, and she finds a bull. Well, this bull is going to cost her $499, so it's going to leave her $1 left. So she's thinking, okay, well, she went ahead and settled for the bull, 499 bucks. She's got $1 left to her name. And she decides, okay, I'll go down to the telegraph office, and I'll say, I'm gonna go straight. And I'll send a telegraph, and we'll get this truck and trailer and get this bull home. So she goes down to the telegraph office and says, hey, I need to send a telegraph. And they said, okay, it's $1 a word. $1 a word. How am I going to tell her to bring the truck and the trailer for, you know, with $1? And the redhead told the telegraph operator her dilemma, and she says, well, I'm sorry, it's $1 a word. So she sat and thought about it for a while, and so she thought, okay, I know what word I'm going to send. So she said, okay, comfortable. Comfortable? Why would you want to send comfortable? She's going to send this word comfortable by the telegraph office to the blonde that's back home. She goes, oh, don't worry, she's a blonde. She reads really, really slow. So the telegraph operator looked down and tried to read it really slow. Comfortable. Come for the bull. Comfortable. Anyway, there you go. So off goes the telegram. The blonde reads it, and they get their bull for 499 bucks. There's your joke for Bad Joke Monday. I hope you guys have a great week. And one last thing is we're moving into what I call my favorite time of year, which is Thanksgiving. We have so much to be thankful for, so much. Take some time to think about the things you're thankful for, and boy, I've got a list. So I'm going to shut you guys down. I'm going to go for a little roll up here by the copper mine and say muchas gracias for riding with me today. Let's turn you down so you can see the bike. What do you think of those velocity stacks, huh? Pretty cool. Anyway, I've got so much more to tell you guys, but I'm gonna go for a little ride back home. Hopefully this recorded, and if the weather holds out, let's see here. If the weather holds out, I'll keep recording. If it doesn't hold out, I'll be taking this tank off and begging my homie Todd Kirby to work his magic. And I'm telling you, when he's done, it'll blow your freaking minds. This dude is amazing. This bike is so much fun to ride. Alright, you guys, have a good week. Love you all. And we'll chat you on the next one, okay? 再见了。